Welcome back to the Proactive Athletes Therapy Thursday. Today we've got Andrew English, our fitness partner from Evolution Fitness. I'm going to show you the Cossack Squat and show you how it can benefit your mobility. Specifically, we're talking about side-to-side weight transfer and looking at lateral mobility in the hip. So I'm going to tackle the mobility value of the Cossack Squat, and then I'm going to turn it over to Andrew for some strength options and variations that you can try. So Cossack Squat, very simply, feet wider than shoulder width apart, and you're going to shift your center of gravity. If you think of our center of gravity as a plumb line nose down through the zipper, we're going to shift that center of gravity to the side and shift to the opposite side. Traditionally, we will go so low that we'll turn this contralateral leg out. So it'll be an external rotation of my foot, and I'll lose that contact with the inside edge. That's traditionally how it's done, but there's value both ways, and we can talk about some of those. Off the hop, if you've never done a Cossack Squat before, get a chair, get a bench, get a stool, and you can put some of your body weight through the bench and stool. Take your feet to a comfortable width and try and just shift your body weight side to side, and you can take off as much or as little of your body weight as possible. You're exploring how much you can hinge through the hip, how much you can flex through the knee, and how much that right side, in my case, can open up on the contralateral side. So if I keep my foot planted on the inside, I'm going to work a little more adductor or groin muscle. If I open that up, I'm going to shift more towards the hamstring and posterior chain from a mobility perspective. The other modification or option to help challenge and test your mobility with this exercise is to use a post or a door frame, something you can get your hands on in front of you to support your body weight from falling backwards. So if we're shifting our weight side to side, you can use your hands to help support you a little bit and get you in and out of those depths and end ranges that your joints will allow. So great option here just to work and see how far you can take your feet and how low you can go. So this is how we would use the Cossack Squat from a mobility perspective. Andrew, why don't you step up and show some ways you can use that same movement from a strength perspective.
Yeah, that was great. Once you've taken care of the mobility issues or anything that is going to inhibit you from doing a perfect Cossack Squat, you can start talking about strength. And now we're starting talking about loading the movement with different variations for it. So the first thing we want to do is just make sure that you've got the right mobility. There are many variations that you can do with it. First of all, of course, we always start with body weight for resistance. Starting with a wide stance, start by just shifting your weight from side to side, okay? And as you're doing that, once we realize that we can get to that depth, we can turn that foot and get a little deeper, thinking about bringing that hip below parallel, all right? So that's taking it to another level. So a little bit more in the knees, okay? Staying nice and tall on the core. Once we've mastered that movement with the body weight, we can shift to a load either with a kettlebell. In this case, I'm going to use a dumbbell and front load the movement. Okay, so staying nice and tall. That's the first thing, staying as tall as I can, putting that dumbbell right to my chest. I'm going to widen my base, go down. I like pulling my toe up. It allows me to get into a little bit more of a deeper range. Okay, biggest thing on this one is keeping my eyes up, maintaining that erect posture. Don't let this weight pull you forward. All right, so I'm gonna load that up, sink, brace my core, up I go to the other side. All right, so that's one variation. Another way of doing it is with the landmine setup, using a bar against the wall, or I've got a special device for landmine movements. I'm gonna take my thumbs, lock that bar against my chest. This one takes a little bit of a setup just to get the right stance with the feet. Once I'm there, I'm going to lean to one side, keeping that chest right up. I feel that bar against my chest, and that actually helps me maintain that posture. Okay, that's another variation. With that, we can also use a kettlebell. Now, where you load that weight is going to sometimes dictate there's a subtle difference in the landmine, if it's more of a knee movement or a hip movement. Typically, if I'm loading from the side, this is another variation of that movement, from a side load position, it becomes more of a hip hinge movement, right? So by that, I mean my butt level is not getting very low, and I'm coming from the hinge and down. More of a front-loaded position. I'm down, I'm able to get low, it's a little bit more of a knee movement, and I'm getting my butt below parallel. So either way are good variations, just depending on what your mobility and what your focus on the purpose for you doing that exercise. So yeah.
Beautiful, some great variations there. So Cossack squat in general, we're doing a lateral weight transfer. We don't do enough of this in our workouts for average fitness clients. If you're a multi-directional athlete, you need this to develop strength and power. If you're a sagittal plane athlete like a runner or a cyclist, then the mobility side to balance out some of your training adaptations is really important. So hope you like that mobility and strength Cossack squat. See you next week on Therapy Thursday. If you like our content, please hit the subscribe button. And if you want to be notified of future videos, please hit that bell up top. See you next week on Therapy Thursday.